All right. Welcome into this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. Corey Moen, Evan Byrne. Evan, how are we doing?
Honestly, can't complain. Not too bad.
Yeah, me either. As you guys can maybe not see, but if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I am still in my PJs.
Same.
Dude,
No.
it is 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock on a Saturday. I was like, dude, I'm not feeling to get dressed right now. There was a point in me that thought about like going to Quick Trip or something just to grab like a donut, but I was gonna wear this. But I haven't done that yet. I'm still gonna decide after I'm done with this podcast about like whether I want to actually like get dressed.
Get some Glazers.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So yeah, some Glazers, some like a Long John, like
Yep.
Quick
Get a
Trip's
big buddy for the road.
Oh hell yeah! But Quick Trip's got some of the best donuts. But we got a packed show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about Milwaukee's overtime win against the Charlotte Hornets last week, and then its losses to the LA Lakers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Additionally, we're also going to be talking about with Giannis missing 1 to 2 weeks, how is that going to impact the team? And Kevin Porter's return date has been set to early December. So, Evan, let's get right into it. Milwaukee literally just snuck one out against the Charlotte Hornets last week. 147 to 134. Very much like a back and forth game. Miles Bridges and Con Knippel combined for 64 points. Excuse me, Wayne.
Yeah.
Yep. Not a math guy, so I had to make sure that I got that right. 64 points, and Giannis once again. I mean, it was Giannis. It was really Giannis and Kyle Kuzma, to be honest with you, with Ryan Rollins chipping in, but Giannis had 25, Kuzma had 29, and Rollins had 20. But no, this game was just like really frustrating on just a multitude of levels with just the fact that just having issues with the Charlotte Hornets, who are supposed to be like a lottery team of sorts this year. Like they're not supposed to be very good, supposed to be rebuilding, and yet these two teams have faced off twice this year, and Milwaukee lost the first meeting, 111 to 100. And the second meeting, it just felt like they couldn't guard their shadow. And, that just kind of brings a larger point about, like, Milwaukee just isn't good defensively. Like, they're just not. This just feels like another version of why they fired Adrian Griffin, because, like, he didn't have the respect of the players. Well, okay, he might have been, like, a first-year coach, but it's like, this team could not guard. Like, even with Giannis, this team isn't great great as a team defense. And we've talked about this. They have talented defensive players. It's just, I don't know if it's a scheme. It's got to be with the extra possessions because Charlotte had 10 offensive rebounds. And, and I'm looking and I'm like, all right, well, Kalkmeyer, he might have played. Like, Kalkmeyer didn't even play in this game. And they were still grabbing, like, offensive rebounds. So, you got Moussa Diabate, but it's like, looking at this roster, I'm like, there's not that many tall players on it, yet they're still grabbing 10 offensive rebounds. So I just don't know. So I'm just kind of struggling to figure out, like, why, like how Milwaukee allows this to happen when they have, like, they got guys who can rebound. They got Portis. They got Giannis. They got Miles Turner. So, like, I just don't understand how they get out-rebounded. Why there's just been so many occasions where this team's just been consistently out-rebounded. So, I guess when you watch this game, like, what did you see?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, it's going to be a win in their record. But again, when you break the game down, it's a very ugly win. Like you said, the game, they had not back-to-back days, but back-to-back games against Charlotte, again, losing and then slivering out with this win in overtime, 18-5 in overtime. But No, like you said, a lot of back and forth. Biggest notes, obviously, for Giannis, 18 assists. Huge game dishing, obviously only scoring 25 points, allowing some other guys to kind of take over. Said being Kyle Kuzma being the primary shooter outside of Giannis, and then Ryan Rollins, who I'm going to say, I've seen a lot of these ugly losses. Ryan Rollins is starting to kind of come alive again, which has been great to see. Um, but no, like you said, offensive rebound wise, again, 7 to 10, I feel like is an absurd amount of offensive rebounds. Like we talked with the Rockets game, giving up 20 of them. But I feel like it's just so much just boxing out and then looking at the ball, expecting someone else to grab it, and then no one grabs it. And then, oh, here it comes right back to the other team, 3-pointer, or however, foul, I feel like have been their tendencies when giving up a offensive rebound. But no, it's frustrating because there's so many games they could easily be winning, but the amount of second chance points that they give up, even second possessions, are frustrating too, whether they score or not. Just losing a possession yourself. But yeah, it's again, you look at the roster, very starter heavy, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, they're winning, and 147 to 134 to the Hornets, where you're still giving up 100. What did that? 129 points in regulation. But no, it's like you said with Adrian Griffin. Sure, you had a good record at that time, but you're still giving up 120 to 130 points on average per game, win or lose. So yeah, it's frustrating, especially getting into these losses too with very small things that could have easily been avoidable when it comes down to actually trying to win a game.
And there's just like a huge part of me that's like, it keeps asking, and I've watched every game this year. I keep asking, I'm like, is this roster good enough? And I give huge amounts of credit to John Horst because he's literally done everything possible to try to get Giannis another championship, try to get as much talent around him as humanly possible. So it's not as if Milwaukee isn't trying, okay? Because Giannis is a god in Milwaukee, and they're doing everything possible to try and put something around him. It's just the problem is like what we're left with, okay, is this roster without Giannis has very diminishing returns. There's no guy on that roster that could create his own shot. Okay, Kuzma can draw fouls, but that's literally where it ends. He's not like Kyle Kuzma is a very streaky player, so I'm not expecting him to be like as consistent as Middleton was when he was here. And I understand Middleton was hurt, but even when he was like at 80%, Middleton was better than Kuzma was like as a starter. Kuzma's obviously a good role player. Miles Turner, it's like Miles Turner. I'm not expecting him to go out and get us 30 points. Like that's not who he is. Okay, he's also very streaky. And he's also like not. I've talked about this. He's not a well-rounded defensive player. So it's just like I just look at the top and bottom of this roster, and it's looks very top heavy. They got Giannis, and they got Miles Turner. And again, Ryan Rollins, give credit to him because he has really upped his offensive game to where it's like, he's can be that other scorer. And they got Cole Anthony and they got Gary Harris. But, just really just outside of that, it's like how good and what we've seen, Evan, the last 3 games is this roster without Giannis playing just not very good. Or excuse me, not the last, I guess, game because that was because I think Giannis left after the Cleveland game, so
Yep.
really it was the game and a half.
Game and a half.
Yeah, because but again, this roster is not great, and I just don't know who exactly you can rely on a night-to-night basis to, not only defend, but. And I think the other thing that we're seeing is without Brook Lopez, who despite the fact that he was like old, getting up there in age, he covered up a lot of holes that unfortunately Giannis, isn't good enough to cover up. So really just kind of turns into this defense has like a lot of holes that can only be fixed. That I don't even know if they could be fixed unless they they're gonna have to acquire some talent, like some more talent. I don't know where they're gonna get it from. This might be a trade deadline thing, but as it currently stands right now, this is just not a good roster.
Which is unfortunate because, like you said, I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's whatever, but you look at the team and they're good on paper, but they continue to show that they are not producing how I feel like they should be. Frustrating, annoying. Do I still feel like they can turn it around? Sure, it's still early, but it's still worrisome because we're not 3 games in. We're on our 17th game tonight. Sitting at 500 as well. But yeah, and they play the Red Hot Pistons tonight too, so we'll see. But yeah, frustrating. So it gets even more frustrating with this the Laker game. I don't even really have much to say because they got obliterated. I was at a wedding that night, so it was a good game to miss, and not really much I had to look back over.
Yep. So Milwaukee played last week against the Lakers, 119-95. I figure the Lakers knew that they were going to. Well, first of all, Brian James actually started this game, which is a quick little note about that. But when you get Luka Doncic scoring 41, and no, don't get me wrong, they got some dogs on that team, right? Like we knew Austin Reeves was good. Austin Reeves has been off to a torrid start for this year.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Ayton's at 20 points. Luka going off for 41, that really doesn't surprise me, to be quite honest with you. He is so good. So anytime that he can put up numbers like that, and again, not only that, he looks a lot slimmer, which is actually scary for the rest of the NBA. But, and again, but the problem is they didn't really have a good matchup for him. You don't want to have Giannis expend his energy to go to Luka, so it was mostly Kyle Kuzma. But he's such a crafty player that there's just no he's a generational talent. You're not going to stop guys like that. They're going to score. But then it was Giannis scored 32, AJ Green scored 15, Ryan Rollins scored 10. Gary Trent Jr. scored 13. So it's just you're not. Kyle Kuzma scored 1 point, so that's as a starter. So give credit to him. Miles Turner scored 3 points, so good for him. Happy. But again, actually Milwaukee did out rebound LA 12-11, so that's a plus. But the Lakers had 13 steals and Milwaukee had 17 turnovers. So you're not. So again, 13 steals in a regulation NBA game is insane. It's crazy, and that's another issue that Milwaukee's dealt with, along way too many offensive rebounds. Is they've been very sloppy with the basketball for this season. So I understand you said you were at a wedding, but what if you watch it back? What did you see in Milwaukee's performance against LA?
Again, it's just another one of those streaky games where no one can, outside of Giannis, no one can kind of show up. I mean, you could throw in AJ Green, 5 for 10, but no, it's unfortunate seeing Kuzma go 0 for 6, Cole Anthony go 0 for 5, Gary Trent, he's been extremely streaky this year. But I feel like it's just also one of those games where no matter what, if Kyle Kuzma makes 3 shots and Cole Anthony makes 3 shots, it's nowhere near of coming back. I just think they gave them too many chances to go to the line, a lot of fouling, 33 free throw attempts. They made 30 of them. And the steals were, I think, 2 of their biggest issues. And when you're giving up easy, fast break points, there's really nothing you can do outside of that. So I feel like overall that they were just hitting their shots and there was no way that Bucks were able to come back from this one, and kind of a goner when they had more in the second quarter than the Bucks did in the entire first half. So nothing else I really got.
Yeah, and again, they were able to outscore LA in the third quarter, 38-27. But still, there wasn't. You're right. There was really not too many. It really wasn't too many too many things that I could say in a positive light. That could be, oh my god, like Milwaukee looked at, like they got outscored in the second quarter. It was really the second quarter where this game really started to go downhill. Like 35-16, They were outscored. Again, you're not winning. This is like the result that's going to happen when you get outscored like that, like anywhere really. So let's just move on. I don't have too much to say. Giannis again, good game, but everybody else was just didn't do enough to be able to win. Milwaukee played again Monday night, 118-106. Giannis, 14 points. Of course, as everybody knows, he had to leave early, second quarter. They called it according to ESPN Sharp Sharoni, it was a low-grade left groin strain. He's going to miss 1 to 2 weeks. Doc Rivers kind of made it sound like he's going to be out a little bit for more or less on the longer side of it. So maybe 2 weeks is probably how much he's going to miss. Unfortunate, really an unfortunate injury. And what's unfortunate about that is Giannis was balling to start this game. Jake just literally could not miss. He was it looked like he was going to go on a generational game of sorts, maybe another 40 piece, but then he got hurt. And Milwaukee just couldn't recover after that, which again kind of highlights the issues that they have. Ryan Rollins again 24, Miles Turner 15, Kyle Kuzma 10, but and again I don't believe Milwaukee or Cleveland's had Darius Garland to start the year. He's been out, and
he's been out.
Spida still have Donovan Mitchell, very unguardable, 37 points. Another guy who Milwaukee, shouldn't have traded, should have developed him more was Sam Merrill, who was just hitting 3 after 3. But again, look, this is the result you're going to have when you get all 5 starters in double figures, right? So just none of this surprises me. And this was a competitive game through 3 quarters, and then once the fourth quarter hit, it was yep, this game. Yep, Milwaukee doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, Cleveland didn't even have a good fourth quarter either. The Bucks just had a worse one.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad.
They couldn't hit a bucket to save their lives.
No, and offensive rebounds were not an issue here. Milwaukee, not even turnovers. It was just they're just not even. Since the problem is they just don't have enough offense to absorb Giannis going out. They just don't. They truly don't. And when I watch it, it's they don't have enough offense to be able to absorb Giannis's absence, because every game it's been Giannis go out and score 40, and hopefully we can sneak out.
Some other guys will chip in. Yep.
Which is not a sustainable way to win, by the way. It's not sustainable to expect your star player to keep going out and scoring 30 or 40 just to give your team a chance to win. That is just not sustainable. That's not how you win. And I think John Horst, I'm going to keep saying this again and again, he has to consider adding something at the deadline or maybe a time before that, because trust me, the way the team is playing right now, it just is not sustainable. And again, Giannis, he's put a lot of miles on his body. Okay, these injuries are going to happen. He is a high contact player. He, he takes punishment, so much punishment. And when you have a player like that, and when he's getting nicked up like he did against the Cavs, it's going to happen. He's gotten hit thousands of times over his 12-year career. So it's and he's in his 30 now. 29, 30, I forgot how old he is.
30.
But yeah, it's like he's in his prime, but like, dude, he's not like Kevin Durant, right? Like he absorbs so much punishment that it's like he is going to like those types of injuries are going to happen, like just because of his age and how many like hits he's taken throughout the years.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like if they were to make a trade, like you said, I keep seeing like Ryan Rounds and Kyle Kuzma being like headlines for it. I just don't think you can get rid of Ryan Rounds. Kyle Kuzma's up in the air. He's had some really good games this year, but is he like a long-term buck? We don't know, but I feel like you just can't get rid of Ryan Rounds at this point. He's averaging 18 points this year. Good for him. 51% shooting. Again, tried to keep us in against Philly, but once again, could not come up.
well, okay. Well, what's frustrating about this game? So, I just recently watched this game the other day, like yesterday, and first of all, the first 4 or 5 minutes, Paul George, like my God, he could not win.
He had the first like 11 points.
It was insane. Paul George played really well, but look at the stat line: 21 from George, VJ Edgecombe 12, Quentin Grimes 14, and then Tyrese Maxey 54 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Like, all right, okay. See, this is the issue. Here's the issue I have with that, Evan. Like, Doc Rivers coached Tyrese Maxey. So it's like what makes him like a stronger player. So like if you know that one guy like is that good, why wouldn't you do more? And he's fast, so why wouldn't you do more to be able to like what I would have done if Doc Rivers, because I know he's like old school, but I'm like, dude, why? I'm not gonna let somebody put up 50 points against me. Like, I'm gonna blitz the hell out of him. I'm gonna double team him, and without Joel Embiid, I would just rely on other players to beat me. Like he coached both Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, and yet both those players scored a vast majority of their points. Okay, Tyrese Maxey scored 54, and Paul George scored 21. I'm like, have you never? Like, it just looks like Doc Rivers has just never seen these guys play before. Like, have you just never? Like, he's never seen a play. But again, Milwaukee like almost won. They had a chance to win. Okay, like Miles Turner hit that big three to have him take the lead, but guess what happened on the next possession? He doesn't bring a double team, and Tyrese Maxey gets fouled. I'm like, dude, it's just baffling to me the fact that Doc Rivers just never double teams. Double team, just double team him, blitz him. Like blitz him, get the ball out of his hands, have somebody else beat you. Like if it was like Justin Edwards and Paul George, so be it. But Tyrese Maxey by that point was their best player. So it's like, why is he not double teaming him? Why to get the ball out of his hands at the end of the game? This is elementary school stuff, and I don't understand why he never does it. He never does it. Okay, that like Doc Rivers just doing these like coaching blunders. It's like, dude, you've been coaching the league for over 30 years. Like, or 30 or 20. It's like he's been in the NBA for over 30 years. Like, you've seen every situation that other coaches had imaginable. Like, if you want to secure a win for your team, get the ball out of the best player's hands. Like, why is Tyrese Maxey having the opportunity to be able to drive and draw a foul? That's on coaching. That is so on coaching. And people just out here just thinking like Doc Rivers just is such a great coach. He's not. Everybody said he's not. Doc Rivers is not a great coach. He's not. Okay? I don't care the fact he's won like 50-plus games. Look how many teams he's coached that have been stacked that have failed year after year. Like, the last time Doc Rivers coached in like a conference finals game was, I think you have to go back. Go back. Eastern Conference Finals, it was with the Celtics because he never made it. He didn't make it out of the second round with the Sixers.
Yep, with the Clippers.
Clippers or the Sixers. Clippers, I got to go back. I know they made it in 2015. Yeah, I believe it was 2015 was the last time Doc Rivers made it to Western Conference Finals game with like any team really, because you never made it. Yeah, I think it was 2015 because as in 2020 they had a 3-1 lead in the pandemic against the Nuggets.
Yep, and then blew it.
And by the way, and here's the other part that pisses me off about Doc Rivers. What also pisses me off is that anytime they lose, like, okay, so take last week, for example. They beat the Hornets, 147 to 134. Okay. Next night, get blown up by the Lakers. This is literally what Doc Rivers said. Well, they were just tired. Okay, and I don't want to hear that. I don't want to. You're NBA players. NBA players are.
It's also 2 home games.
It's 2 home games. I literally don't want to hear the fact that your team couldn't defend its own shadow. Okay, the fact that they were tired. I don't give a shit if they were tired. Okay, put up a better effort. Fans pay tickets to see these games. Like they don't want to see their head coach being like, their coach was tired. Their guys were tired. I don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Like you make I don't mean to sound like a boomer here. You make millions of dollars to dribble a basketball. Okay? Figure it out. Okay? And Doc Rivers doesn't want to state the obvious, but I will. The team that roster is just not talented enough to be able to win a back-to-back game like that. Oh yeah, they were just tired. Oh yeah. A barn burner against the Hornets, a team that's supposed to be rebuilding, and then all of a sudden you looked like you didn't even belong on the same floor with the Lakers. That's what that looked like to me.
They were tired because they weren't able to close them out in 4 quarters.
We're tired. No, you put together a shit effort is what happened. That's what happened. Okay, I literally the last thing I want to hear is our guys were tired. Okay, I'm tired waking up in the morning too, but you don't hear me complaining. Like literally, literally that actually pissed me off when I read that because it was just it's another one of those Doc Rivers excuses that that he's so much known for. Oh, he does. Yes, he does. Doc Rivers always makes excuses anytime something doesn't go his way. Whether it was when the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead, he was like, "Oh well, it was the pandemic. Everything was like so uncertain." No, you were up 3-1. Shut up. And again, I don't care the fact that you win in the regular season. I literally don't give a flying fuck about that. Like 8 teams make the playoffs plus play-in teams. I don't care. Like making the playoffs is not an accomplishment. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay, if you're ever breathing pulse and you win like 35 to 39 games, you're going to make the playoffs. I don't consider that an accomplishment. I don't consider like sneaking into the 8th seed every year an accomplishment. Okay, that's not an accomplishment to just win a bunch of regular season games and do nothing in the playoffs. That's what makes me mad. It's just the excuses. I don't need to hear excuses. Okay. And honestly, they cannot sit here and tell me that Doc Rivers was like that Milwaukee as a franchise is better off with Doc Rivers versus somebody like Budenholzer or Adrian Griffin. They're not. Okay. They're not, but they can't fire him because they're still paying out Adrian Griffin and Mike Budenholzer. So it's like you can't, you can't just fire another coach because that's gonna make us look unstable. So, I mean, but it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
So
especially knowing who's going to have the ball with 8 seconds left in the game. What's going to happen.
You know it's going to Maxey. Like you know that. He scored 50. Like he scored over 50 points by that point. And again, and by that point, Milwaukee was just shell shocked because they go from like a Miles Turner 3 to oh my god, this team's going to win to 2 free throws, and then they got outscored in overtime 17-8. So like they were shell shocked. They didn't come out with their best effort, and they lost. So I don't know what more I could say. Like I've outlined my frustrations, but it just feels like every game is just exactly the same. Way too many offensive rebounds, just giving up just way too many points. So it's just like, I just don't know what else to say. It feels like I'm just, we could put together the same podcast next week, and we could just like not even do one. Just go over the same record of what the issues are, and it'll still be exactly the same. So moving on to our last two topics. Giannis is, as I mentioned before, he's going to be out like 2 weeks due to a low-grade groin strain. How much of an impact do you think that will have?
Man. Clearly, it'll have a huge impact, primarily on the offensive end. When you got a guy who is scoring 30 to 40 points, I feel, every night. To lose that, it's going to take a lot of other guys to step up. Not having to score that many points, but being able to spread the ball more, be able to, again, effectively get some of these guys shots. And it's just something that a lot of these guys are not able to do. Ryan Rounds is clearly our best scorer outside of Giannis, which is an absurd thing to say. 32 points, shot 50% last or 2 nights ago, whenever that game was. But no, clearly a huge effect on the offensive end. Can they do it defensively? Probably not as much, but offensive is going to be a lot more of an issue over. I feel like their defensive end, just being able to create shots and attack the paint and be able to get everyone more involved and not rely on Giannis to one score or two be the primary shot creator itself. But yes, big issue losing Giannis.
Yeah, it'll be a profound impact for sure. Like the team's just not good enough offensively to, like I said before, just kind of absorb his presence. It's a humongous loss. Even if it's like for a short period of time, it's just like they just don't. There's not a lot of. They just don't have another shot creator on the roster. Like, and especially with Kevin Porter Jr. still being out, Ryan Rollins has been really good. Like, he's really upped his offensive game. But here's what they got: Miles Turner, inconsistent. Kyle Kuzma, inconsistent. Gary Trent, AJ Green, spot up shooters that don't always have their best game. Gary. They've had to play Gary Harris a little more, and he hasn't looked bad, to be honest with you. Let's see who else. Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony's been, he's still been good. It's just, I just look. It's literally what I just said 10 minutes ago. It's like I just look up and down that roster. I'm just like, it's just simply not good enough. And I get it. Also playing Jericho Sims a little more, but it's just when I look, I'm just like, geez, at least this is not. This is damn. Like, yeah, like you are what your record says you are, and right now Milwaukee is very much like an 8-8 basketball team. Like that's just what they look like. It just hasn't been smooth. It's just been like, okay, Giannis could score a lot, and then everybody else, like, if you could score based on what Giannis does. Like Giannis commands so much attention that everybody else is allowed to thrive. But when you lose the head of the snake, then it's like, all right, well, everybody else has to try to follow my lead. That's it. They just don't have that type of offensive talent to be able to do that. The thing that made Milwaukee great last year, a couple years ago, is when they had guys like Grayson Allen who could at least like go in, like shoot and like draw fouls and stuff like that. But when you trade that guy away, okay, when you just have a spot up shooter, now Gary Trent could create a little bit, but that's not like his. I don't think he wasn't at the athleticism level of Grayson Allen. So, it's just that's just the part that's just frustrating. It's just, when you look, I'm just like, yep, this team, like, I just don't know how much offensive talent there is outside of Ryan Rollins right now. And, I love Ryan Rollins. He's a dog, and like he deserved the contract, but he's not. But like, if we're expecting Ryan Rollins to be our main source of offense, we're not winning many games. Like, no disrespect, but we're not winning many games.
Yeah, no.
Ryan
And
Rollins,
I feel like he knows that too.
if Ryan Rollins scored 27 points for us, that's not good. Like, if it was Middleton, that's one thing, because Middleton's like a proven offensive player. But if Ryan Rollins is scoring like 28 points and nobody else is doing anything, yeah, we're not winning games. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not happening. So I mean, look, it's gonna be a big loss, but hopefully Milwaukee can absorb it. It's gonna start again tonight. When they play Detroit at 7.
I think I've won 11 in a row.
No, they're hot.
Good for them, though. Good for them.
No. You know what? Pistons were really bad a couple years ago, and then they fired Monty Williams, and they get JB Bickerstaff, and all of a sudden that team's kind of rolling a little bit. So I'm happy for the Pistons. Detroit sports being like good at stuff is like, I mean, they've been punched and beat and battered for so long, through the other 3 sports teams, that I'm happy when Detroit has a little success. It's a good blue collar city. It's hardworking, and I'm happy to see Detroit have success. Next, last topic of the day, Kevin Porter Jr. It was announced he's going to be coming back in early December. In case you guys didn't know, he had surgery to repair a torn meniscus. And he hasn't played since opening night, which he only played 9 minutes before he had a sprained ankle. And, what was thought to be a short-term injury, he hurt himself as he was working his way back. So I think KPJ's, what day are we on? We on 22nd. He's going to be coming back in the next couple of weeks. So what do you think that would do for Milwaukee?
I think it'll bring a lot more a lot more offense. I feel like he's one of those guys, again, who can create a shot. A very good, kind of similar to Ryan Rollins, able to bring the ball up, but you got the speed with him too, a shifty lefty guard. I think being able to, 1, create his own shots, and 2, create shots for everyone else, I feel like it's going to be a lot more beneficial for them offensively, especially for probably a few games or 1 or 2 games without Giannis once he comes back. No, I feel like it's going to, 1, help the bench, whether I'm assuming he's probably going to start coming off the bench before he comes back to the starting lineup, or he could just stay coming off the bench, kind of depending on what they want Ryan Rollins' role to be. But no, I feel like it's definitely going to bring a lot more offensively, and being able to just get more attacking of the paint. I feel like, again, once Giannis is gone, it's just 3 after 3 after 3, and they're not making a lot of them, which is, I feel like, is one of their main things with their numerous 3-point shooters, especially with Miles Turner also sitting at the 3. He shot 9 3-pointers the other day. But I feel like a lot more paint attacking, and then maybe creating more offense in the paint as well, if we're able to kind of get him. Again, Jericho Sims had a couple. He had a really cool alley-oop the other day, but just being able to get more guys open down there too, I feel like it's going to be a lot more helpful for them, and not having to rely on the 3 ball when they shouldn't have to 90% of the game.
Yeah, and again, as I've mentioned before, like, as little as shot creators as Milwaukee has on its roster, like Kevin Porter Jr. is the exception. Like he can like get his own. He's athletic enough, and he can draw fouls, and he is. Last year he was like great on the defensive end, especially stealing the basketball. But
he's pesty.
No, he is 100%, and I'm going to be happy when he returns, because I think that'll add a little more. And Giannis, I should be returning around the same time, I think.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm going to be really, really excited with the return of Kevin Porter Jr. I think that's going to open up the offense a little more, because I think right now it's kind of gotten a little stagnant. Not saying Ryan Rollins hasn't done it. It's just like, sometimes it's like, you just don't know where the main offensive guys should come from, or the main offense should come from. So it's just, I'm happy with Ryan Rollins, return to whatever role they want him to. I think that right now, with how good Rollins is playing offensively, though, I would keep him as a starter and put Kevin Porter Jr. off the bench. I just think that he's shown a lot to be able to keep that job, and he's still really good on defense too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they did find something for that. That hey, Rollins has unlocked his offensive game. Like we should probably keep him like as a starter. So, Evan, you got anything else?
No, like you said, they got the Pistons tonight. Probably going to be a feisty game. Might be a little different without Giannis on the court, but Pistons had a big win streak. So hopefully they can end it tonight at 7. And then they got the Trailblazers again on Monday. Also a home game as well.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. And we'll potentially see you guys next week. But if we don't, we want to wish you and your families a happy Thanksgiving.